Hello, my name is John Rose. In this video I'd like to take a closer look at the definition of insanity and the definition of failure from a raw food, cooked food perspective. And when we look at the definition of insanity from a raw food, cooked food perspective, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is the epitome of insanity. Something's definitely wrong with our species. Collectively, there's something wrong with us. We still have wars, we still have crime, we still have violence, and then none of our so-called experts have been able to find a cure for heart disease or cancer or diabetes, and yet there's a common link between war and crime and violence and heart disease and cancer and diabetes and even the swine flu and the dark side of our behavior. And that common link has to do with the condition of our four current status factors. That would be the condition of our physical state, mental state, emotional state, and our communal state, meaning that we are all one. And then the condition of these four current status factors depends upon, number one, genetics, number two, our constitution. That's what our mother did when we were in her womb and on her tit, if we were lucky enough to be there. And then number three would be the environment, and number four would be the way we interact with our environment, our lifestyle choices. And the last one is the one that matters the most. We have no control whatsoever over our parents and what our parents ate, although some people like to believe we do choose our parents. And then we have limited control over our environment, but our lifestyle choices, we have much more control over those once we reach a certain age and we're not limited by the circumstances. And there are circumstances that limit our choices, economically, location. So not everything is 100% within our control, although they should be. And the definition of insanity to me would be to keep eating cooked food over and over and over and then go looking for a cure for cancer or looking for a solution to any of our problems, because there are no cures for problems. You can't violate a law of nature and expect not to have the consequences. That's how we are wired. Our brains are wired for pleasure and pain. So when we exhibit symptoms of insanity, that means that we're doing something wrong. And as a result, that's the definition of failure, is doing something that we think is okay and it's not okay. Pretty much most people on this planet are failures at living. We are failing at being the guardians to this planet. The elderly in our country, or especially in America, are especially failures at living. Look at them. They're not healthy. They never learned how to live. They simply accepted what was taught to them, and then they taught it to us, and we keep repeating this over and over. That's the definition of insanity. We've been passing down cooked food for 3,000 generations. That's insane, my friends. That is totally insane. And what's the result? The net result of that is we are failures at being the guardians on this planet. That's why so many species are becoming extinct every day, and that's where we're headed if we don't wake up to this reality also. But nothing's etched in stone. We can change everything around in an instant if we can just get enough people to find some sanity and become successful. So in contrast, sanity and success would be to not glide with the stream of the crowd anymore. Or the definition of success would be to climb that unexplored mountain, or to rise above the ideas of the time, or to test an idea as time has come. That is the best way to become successful. It's the best way to gain back our sanity. Remember, we're insane for a reason. We lost one of our senses. That's what the fall of mankind is all about. It destroyed one of our senses. And now we're senseless. We're insane. And we're doing it to ourselves. We are the enemy. We have to take responsibility, but we also can blame society, which is what John Lennon meant when he said that we're not to blame. We're only a human, a victim of the insane. You see? We're all victims of the insane as long as we live in a cooked world. That's what's so insane about it, is everyone thinking that there's nothing wrong with cooking our food. This is insanity at the highest level. Now, another definition of failure is to try to please everybody, and I can truly appreciate that one, because I go out of my way to try to figure out how to increase my odds with as many people as I can. That's why I did this raw vegan survey where I had 17 groups, where I already know 4 don't know and they don't want to know. I know that 6 don't know, they want to know, but they're incapable because they can't handle the truth. They shut off their frontal lobe. Instead of hitting the enter button, they hit the delete button. They have a mental processing error because that's data they don't want to process. It's frightening to wake up to the reality that we live in a twilight zone. Especially if we don't think there's a way out. But there is a way out. That's the exciting part about all of this. We can change our mentality, and there's only one way to change our mentality, and that's to stop cooking our food. Now, I would like to mention that if you're unhappy with some of my videos, I appreciate your feedback. That helps me a lot. I appreciate all types of feedback, and I'd like to give some feedback to you guys to help you understand what I'm trying to do. And I apologize if I haven't gotten around to everybody. Again, I want to increase my odds with every group of people. But to understand what I'm saying, you have to understand more about me and who I want to be attracted to. You see, from a personality viewpoint, I'm a triple blue. I've got a real big cup of knowledge, and I know I am guilty many times of giving people a fire hose when all they want is a sip. They got a little bitty small cup. I understand that. So when I'm working with people on a one-on-one basis, that's one of the first things I try to find out, because I can overload people with knowledge. I know I can talk forever. But these are the people that I'm going to appeal to the most. It only makes sense for me to increase my odds of success by tailoring my message to those people who've got big cups. So if you want me to do a small, short videos, I plan on doing that for people with smaller cups. And plus, just to make it more bite-sized and all. Even if you got a big cup, sometimes you don't have the time. But what do we do for the people who want a big cup? And I give them a little cup. They say, I want more, I want more. Well, I just gave you a little cup, that's it. But with you guys with little cups, if I have a big cup, you can always stop at any time and come back if you want to. And yeah, wouldn't it be great if I could take a 20-minute video and condense it down to 2 minutes? Try it. It can be, I understand that. But in the process, there are so many stories I have to repeat, and this is called pile driving. And another comment I got from someone that said, constructive criticism, you repeat yourself a lot, and if you watched enough of my videos, you would have found that I have addressed this point. I do it for a reason. I know I am, and the reason is because some people have to hear this 50 times. In fact, the people who we want to hear this the most are the ones who have to hear it 50 times. So if you're over there and you say, I got it the first time, shut up and stop repeating it, you have to understand the people who you want to know this message more than anything are those thugs right next to you or around the corner that have to hear it 50 times. And they may not, and I'm not even saying that everybody who has to hear it 50 times is a thug, but I'm saying the odds of the thugs getting it the first time are remote, so I'm going to repeat myself over and over and over. If you watch the ultimate schematic, I explain I have 12 main stories that I want to try to weave in all of my videos at some point, and there are 4 that I'm going to tell you every time. If you're going to complain that I'm telling you these 4 every time, then you don't understand my message, because most of what everyone talks about is a distraction. We got to get reconnected. So I always talk about getting reconnected. I always emphasize that the biggest problem we have is the condition of these 4 current status factors. There's something wrong with us. And we have too many references that support our belief system and our way of life, so what we need more than anything is a brand new reference. You see? That's the most important. These are the 2 most important stories that you need to hear over and over and over. Am I going to pile drive this every time? You bet. I have to. Because we have to understand the role we all play. That we all have to become the best that we can be. That's how this works. And again, it's the condition of our 4 current status factors. Most of us, we have very low biophoton levels. Most of us have a serpent inside of us that doesn't belong there. And most of us are made out of inferior material. So the beauty about what we're proposing here is that we're just like a river. You can't step in the same river twice any more than we can step in the same body twice. That means every day we're building new cells over and over and over. And I've given this analogy before, but if I was to build a house and I had a choice between a $5 brick and a $5,000 brick, and there really was a difference in quality based on the price. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to choose any $5 bricks. I want a $5,000 brick house. Every brick, I want it to be the best. And that's how we need to look at our lives, because everything we do affects us, and they accumulate and are reflected in the condition of these four current status factors. Remember, we've got genetics, we've got the constitution, don't have any control over those, that's in the past. We've got the environment, we got to work on that, that's some of the downstream work we have to do. The biggest thing is the way we interact with our environment. It's our choices that we make every day that determine what we got. And if you don't like what you got, guess what? You can build a brand new body. Unfortunately, there is a point of irreversible tissue degeneration. And what does that mean? It means you don't want to waste any time. You don't want to wait till something happens and then think, well, I've been hearing about this, it sounds good, but now I got to put it to the test at a time when, they claim I might lose my life. That's not the time we want to do it. Much easier to prevent something than to reverse it. And the last thing you want to do is wait till something happens and then go, oh my God, I've got the big C. What do I do? Well, I think I know what to do, but I'm not convinced. Well, if you do it now, you'll be convinced, you'll understand it. And then you won't get the big C if you can make the necessary changes afterwards. And that's, of course, the hard part. So there's two things we have to do. One, we got to get reconnected. Two, we got to work downstream. One, we've got to clean out the cesspool. Two, we got to build up the body. We got to bump up the biophotons. We got to flush out the serpent. We got to go upstream, get reconnected, and downstream, and deal with the damage we've done to ourselves and society and the environment. So when we work downstream for our society, we got to take back the absolute tool of control, money, which is what's used to own and control everything that brainwashes us. So that's where we start with doing damage control in our society. There's a lot of stuff we have to do with our society. But when it comes to the environment and our anatomy, we have to respect those anatomical limitations and realize that our ideal diet is only an ideal diet in an ideal world. And now we might not get not all of us might not be able to meet all of our nutritional needs by consuming our ideal diet. So we might have another group of needs. Even when we're doing a solid food vacation, we have to be aware of giving the body everything it needs, and there's two groups of needs we must satisfy. That's all we got to do. And we can stop this insanity. We can stop being failures as the guardians on this planet. We can play our role by being the best that we can be. And when we do this, the thing about getting reconnected is you finally realize you're one with everything, and you want to go out of your way to make everything better because you see the immediate payback. We don't get it now. Most people can't get it. That's why they can't wrap their brain around it. But that's changing. You guys are unbelievable. I am blown away at the comments in my channel. Some really clever people out there, some really passionate people that are sharing, and they're helping me summarize my posts. Thank you. You guys know who you are. And that's only going to get better. Pay attention to what's happening. Some people are saying, okay, he talks about the Celestine prophecy here, he talks about this here, here's a link to the video he's talking about. That saves me a lot of time, and you guys can be part of this by contributing, by transcribing my videos. When you find a part you really like, go ahead and type it out and then post it onto the comment section with a reference to the time limit, timestamp, so that people can, if they're looking for something. And this should also help the message grow, because when people go Google searching and they see this information in the comment section, then more people will find this message, and then we'll finally reach the tipping point. And that's what we have to do. If we don't reach the tipping point, we'll never change our mentality, and we'll always live in an insane world. We'll always be a victim of the insane. Even if we are not insane ourselves, if the masses are, what's going to happen to us? We're going to be victimized, right? We'll still have the war and the crime and the violence, where we have limited control. And I know that's hard for some of you guys to understand. I really do. But you have to realize that all wars are bankers' wars. The people who rule the world control the money. It's all about distracting us. It's a big magic act. They got to get us to divide and conquer. As long as we're fighting one another, as long as they can finance both sides of the war, we won't realize we have a common enemy. And that common enemy is simply a reflection of us. We don't even care who they are. It's immaterial, doesn't matter. I don't care who they are. All we have to do is get reconnected and then undo the damage they've done. That's the downstream work. So what's it time for? It's time to get excited. It's time to rise above the ideas of the time. It's time to put an end to this insanity. It's time to test an idea as time has come. And you know, my friends, when you do it, you're in for a treat.